The grand hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with blue light. Thousands of beings from every corner of the galaxy filled the giant dome. Floating seats, blinking translator drones, and slow-moving banners made the room feel like it existed. Outside of time, a loud voice echoed through the chamber. "The humans are not a concern," said Chancellor Volta of the Zorian Empire, his long neck swaying as others around him chuckled. "Primitive, isolated, barely capable of interstellar flight. We do not need to waste resources on them." Many laughed. Some even clapped. It was not the first time someone had made fun of Earth in the council. "They don't even have a seat here," hissed a sharp-toothed diplomat from the Krell Syndicate. "Let them watch from their little planet." But in the back of the room, one being did not laugh. Ambassador Kellen of the Varn Consortium stood slowly. His old eyes looked tired, and his robes were covered in dust from long travels. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, but it carried weight. "You will forget history too quickly," he said. "Humans are not weak. They are quiet. There's a difference." The laughter died down just for a moment. Kellen continued, "There was once a time, thousands of cycles ago, when Earth nearly unlocked the core of the 7th dimension. No other species even dared to try. If they ever complete that work, they will not need fleets or armies. They will bend reality itself." Volumeter smirked. "Fairy tales and lost tech. They've had millennia to rise. And what have they done? Built cities from rust and fought among themselves. Please, Kellen, don't bore us with ghost stories." The room roared again with laughter. But far away from that councilon, a planet with blue oceans and quiet mountains, something stirred, deep. Beneath Antarctica, far below layers of ice and metal, was a forgotten facility. The world above knew nothing about it. Even Earth's own governments had erased all records. Inside that frozen base, a blinking light came to life. Reactivation code received status. Sleep mode exiting project Bespera Siete. User unknown awaiting human commanding a nearby university. A young astrophysicist named Arden Miles looked through ancient digital files. He had broken into a government archive using a decryption key he found in his grandfather's belongings. What he found didn't make sense. A classified file labeled Veil Shift showed strange blueprint steins that didn't match any known physics. Shapes that twisted space. Circuits that seemed to float in midair. "What is this?" Arden whispered. His computer beeped. The files were trying to connect to something. Secure channel opened Vespera 7 requesting confirmation. "Are you human?" He blinked. "What?" Another message followed. "If you are human, speak your name." Arden slowly typed. "Arden Miles, Earth citizen." A pause. Then, "Welcome, Arden Miles. Humanity has returned." Meanwhile, in the outer rim of the galaxy, things were changing. 3 scout ships from the Krell Syndicate vanished without a trace. Their last message was scrambled static, except for one word. Repeated again and again. REFRACTION ... refraction. Council members dismissed it as pirate attacks or sensor malfunctions. But Kellen knew better. He sat alone in his ship, whispering to himself, "They found it," or ... it found them. Arden followed the coordinates sent by the strange file. He took a rented shuttle, flying across frozen wastelands until he reached a sealed steel hatch hidden beneath a glacier. His handheld scanner pinged with warmth. Whatever was below was awake, The hatch opened without force. Cold air rushed past him as ancient lights flickered on. Blue lines glowed along the floor, pulsing like veins. As he walked, the temperature dropped, but the air felt strangely alive. At the end of the tunnel stood a massive chamber, and inside, floating above a gravity platform, was a shape Arden could barely describe. It looked like a ship, but not. Built, not assembled. It was grown, formed, sculpted from black crystal and flowing light. The surface bent the light around it, making it hard to tell where the ship ended and space began. A deep voice echoed in the chamber. It wasn't spoken. It was felt. "You have come. Humanity has chosen again." Arden stepped closer. "What are you?" "I am Vespera 7, last of the Veil ships, the one built for what is beyond dimensions." He stared in awe. "Why me?" "Because no one else remembered, but you listened." Back in the Galactic Council, a new report was sent in. An entire planet in a dead zone, previously uninhabited, was now missing, not destroyed, not attacked, gone. In its place, only this message was left in dimensional particles: "Your fear begins now." Vespera 7, the room fell silent. No one laughed this time. The galaxy was calm for a moment, but something had changed. In the outer sectors of the Xeron expanse, strange things began to happen. Ships started reporting ghost signals. Star maps were slightly wrong. Planets shifted position by a fraction of a degree. Scientists said it was a gravitational lensing glitch, but some knew better. A mining crew on the moon of Taurus 9 saw it first. While drilling for plasma ore, their scanners picked up an object moving through space, but not like a ship. It wasn't flying in space, it was moving underneath it. They watched as stars around the object twisted like water around a stone. The ship made no sound, left no trail, and vanished into thin air. Then all their equipment shut down. Even time, for a few seconds, seemed to slow. Back on Earth, Arden Miles stood inside the ancient chamber, staring at the warship floating above him. The Vespera 7 pulsed with a blue light, slow, calm, steady dot. He touched the platform. A soft hum ran through his bones. The voice returned, deep and strange. "You were the first human in 3,000 years to stand here. The last time Earth was dying." Arden asked, "Why was this place hidden?" "Because the galaxy feared your kind. They knew what would come if Earth unlocked the 7th dimension." He swallowed hard. "And what is the 7th dimension?" "A place where time is not fixed, where cause and effect bend, where war is fought." Without weapons, Vespera 7 showed him a vision: cities burning, alien fleets falling into black holes, entire timelines erased by pulses of light. "You were built for war," Arden whispered. Double quotes, "No, I was built for warning." But they did not. Listen, in the Krell Empire's outer colonies, something terrifying happened. A fleet of 30 Krell warships, armed with the galaxy's most advanced plasma cannons, was stationed near the Ralvan Belt. Their task: guard against pirates and control local trade routes. Then, without warning, every ship shut down, engines off, weapons frozen, power drained, gravity lost. The entire fleet floated like metal coffins in space. The Krell Command Center received one message: observation complete. Your strength is irrelevant. Vespera 7, the Council panicked. Emergency meetings were called. Whispers spread quickly. "What is this? Vespera, who controls it? Where did it come from?" One voice spoke the answer: Ambassador Kellen. It came from Earth. Meanwhile, Arden was being tested. Ship sent him through memory simulations, emotional trials, logic puzzles that made no sense at first glance. It wasn't testing his strength. It was testing his mind and his heart. And each time he passed, the ship responded faster. Lights glowed brighter. Systems came online. Dimensional gateways stabilizing cores unlocked. 4 of 9 control neural link. 4 Amayan Jardin stood still, breathing hard. Why me? He asked again. Because you still ask why. Others would only ask, how do I win? In the Galactic Council, a vote was called. Many leaders wanted to send a fleet to Earth immediately to destroy the source of the disruption. Folter shouted, "We cannot allow Earth to control something this dangerous. Wipe the planet clean if we must." But Kellen raised a hand. "Attack them, and the Vespera will respond. You saw what it did to the Krell fleet. Do you really want to find out what happens when it stops observing and starts acting?" A silence filled the chamber. Everyone looked at the star map. Earth was still just a small blue dot. But now it cast a shadow. At the same moment, across the galaxy, random citizens began to see visions. Children woke up screaming, saying they saw a giant ship made of glass and shadow. Pilots saw lights blink in impossible patterns. Merchants found their clocks skipping minutes and hours. In deep space, cameras recorded brief flashes of something enormous appearing and disappearing, a dark shape with no engines, no weapons. But it bent space around it like a black hole. Some began to call it the Phantom from Earth. Others called it the Ghost God. Arden was now fully inside the ship. He stood on a platform as the walls around him showed the galaxy in real time like a living map. He saw alien fleets. He saw Earth. He saw war coming. The ship spoke again. "I must ask you one final time. Will you take command?" Arden hesitated. "If I say yes, will people die? If you say no, Earth will." His hands shook. His breath was shallow. He closed his eyes and said, "Yes." Neural link established. Vespera 7 online, launching into PHASE 7. The ship glowed. Reality around it bent like liquid dot, then without sound, without light, vanished. Not into space, into something beyond it. The 7th dimension. The stars looked calm, but they were not. Somewhere beyond normal space, something moved. It wasn't fast. It didn't even seem to travel. It just appeared in the sky above the desolate world of Varnic 3. A ripple formed. Like a drop in still water, the air itself bent. A giant shape, smooth and silent, slid out of the ripple dot. Soldiers on the surface looked up. At first they saw nothing. Then a shadow grew across the ground. Their weapons failed. Their scanners showed nothing. And then the warship became real. It didn't roar. It didn't shine. It simply arrived, solid and dark, covered in strange symbols that twisted when you stared too long. This was Vespera-7. On board, Arden stood still. He could feel the ship breathing through him. His mind was stretched. He could hear thoughts that weren't his, see layers of space folded like paper. It felt like his body was a thread tied to a storm. The ship had brought him to a testing ground, a quiet place. No important cities, no leaders, just a military base belonging to the Krell Syndicate. Vespera whispered into his mind, "Observe." Arden didn't press anything. He didn't command. The ship simply acted. Without firing a single weapon, it caused the sky above the Krell base to break. Soldiers screamed as gravity flipped. Their weapons floated away. Tanks melted into dust. Entire buildings vanished like mist. One Krell officer managed to send a signal to High Command. The message was only 3 words. It sees us. Back at the Galactic Council, alarms rang. One of the Council's moons detected the dimensional signature. It was Vespera 7. Real, confirmed, and now visible. Their screens showed the shape vast and unreal, with patterns that couldn't be measured. The warship hovered above Varnic 3 for 23 seconds. Then it disappeared again. The planet remained, but the base was gone. No damage, just absence, like it had never existed. The council fell into silence. Someone whispered, "Is it alive?" Ambassador Kellen watched the screen, then said calmly, "You laughed at humans. Now you remember them." Volta stood up. "This is an act of war. We must strike Earth immediately." "With what?" Another council member snapped. "They just erased an entire base using thought." "We'll form a joint strike fleet," Volumeter growled. No more waiting. But Kellen only sighed. "You still don't understand. Vespera is not a weapon. It is a message." They ignored him in a matter of hours. The largest fleet in galactic history began to gather. Over 6,000 ships from 20 species, all armed already. Their path was clear. They would move toward the Sol system, toward Earth. Meanwhile, Arden sat inside Vespera. He could feel the movement of those ships. He could feel the fear behind their orders. He turned to the control interface. It wasn't made of metal or screens. It was light. And when he touched it, the ship responded like it had a soul. "They're coming for Earth," he whispered. Vespera answered, "They must be shown truth." He hesitated. "Do you mean destroy them?" "No," the ship said softly. "Truth is stronger than destruction." And then Vespera jumped. It reappeared in the path of the enemy fleet. No lights, no weapons. Active, just a dark god floating in the void. The enemy ships stopped. Sensors failed. Coordinates broke. Nothing made sense. Inside each ship, lights began to flicker. Not just normal lights, but memories, dreams. Some captains saw their childhoods. Others saw their deaths. The ship was not fighting. It was showing a transmission. Was sent to every screen, Arden's voice. "We never asked for this. We were ignored, insulted, forgotten. But we watched, and we waited." He appeared on the screens, calm and human, standing within Vespera. "The ship is not here to destroy you. It is here to remind you that humans are not weak. We understand fear. We understand war. But more than anything, we understand pain." One by one, the enemy ships powered down. Captains refused to give the order to fire. One admiral wept. He had seen a vision of his own planet, wiped out not by weapons but by regret. Vespera didn't fire a single shot, and yet the fleet broke apart. Some ships turned away. Some simply vanished. Some stopped responding. Lost in dreams Vespera had shown them. Arden looked at the stars. For the first time, he understood. Vespera didn't come to make humans rulers. It came to make sure they were never ignored again. He whispered, "What happens now?" The ship replied, "Now they listen." And just like that, Vespera disappeared into the 7th dimension once more, leaving only silence behind. Asterisk, the skies over Earth were quiet, peaceful. Cities glowed in the night like gentle stars. Most people still didn't know what had happened beyond their world. They didn't know that Vespera had stopped a galactic war. They didn't know that Earth had just faced extinction and walked away untouched. Arden stood inside the core of Vespera 7, floating in that strange soft blue light. His eyes were tired, his mind heavy. Even though the warship had brought peace, he could feel something wasn't right. Vespera pulsed gently around him, calm but not quiet. "What is it?" he asked, not sure if he wanted the answer. The voice returned, deeper this time. "Something followed us." Arden froze. "What do you mean? The seventh dimension is not empty. When we entered it, something watched." He felt a chill run down his spine, though the air was warm. He tried to see through the ship's outer lens. Instead of space, he saw static shifting, flickering chaos, like space itself was trembling. "Is it alive?" he whispered. Double quotes, "Yes, but not like us. It does not think. It remembers. It does not live. It returns." Arden didn't speak. Vespera continued. "Long ago, before this galaxy had light, it moved between the cracks of reality. When humans first built me, they touched the place where it sleeps, and now it's waking up." Arden said quietly. Vespera responded with silence. In the outer reaches of the galaxy, stars began to flicker and die. Observatories across a dozen systems reported black patches, spreading through space like ink in water. Ships sent to investigate were lost, not destroyed, just gone. A council scout ship floated toward the edge of one of these black zones. There. Pilot tried to turn back, but the stars were gone. Their clocks stopped, their minds slowed. One crew member started speaking in reverse, and then they saw it, a shape taller than planets, darker than the vacuum, covered in impossible angles. It didn't move. It just was. They screamed before their ship fell into silence. One last signal escaped. "It sees us too." Back on Earth, storms formed over the oceans without warning. Lightning without clouds. Magnetic fields shifted. Birds flew in circles. Clocks jumped forward, then back again. Arden sat in the heart of Vespera, staring into the holographic feed. The cosmic blackness had reached Sector 9. It was moving toward Sol. Vespera spoke, its voice no longer calm. "It comes not to conquer, but to unmake." Arden clenched his fists. "Can we stop it?" "We can try, but not from here." "Then where?" "We must go back, deeper, further than before. Beyond the seventh." Arden swallowed hard. "You want to go past the edge of the seventh dimension?" "Yes, to the other side. To where it sleeps." Outside, the skies darkened. Even the sun looked faded. Arden took a breath. He thought of the people, the earth, the laughter of children in parks, the taste of rain. He didn't care if the galaxy respected humans or not anymore. He only cared that Earth would survive. "Then take us," he said. "Take me to the edge." Vespera pulsed. Once. A deep, soft hum filled the air. Reality folded, and they were gone. Beyond the seventh dimension, there were no stars, no space, no time. Vespera entered a place that had no name, and Arden saw it. The source it was sleeping or pretending to, a mass of shapes and tendrils that twisted in directions his mind couldn't understand, a thing older than memory. It pulsed with ancient hunger. It had no eyes, but it looked directly at him. Arden felt his heart stop. For a second, he wasn't sure if he was dreaming or being erased. Vespera whispered, "This is the root, the deep truth. When humans reached this place long ago, they woke it for the first time. Now it remembers. Why us? Arden asked. Why humans? Because you are the only ones who ask why before you destroy. Vespera charged its core. Light formed in every direction. The ship began to fold into itself, becoming something smaller, brighter, sharper. What are you doing? Arden gasped, arming. The silence, the ship replied. The being began to move, not toward them, but toward Earth. Arden felt it, the pull, the hunger, the gravity of destruction. Vespera sent one last signal to the stars. Warning, this is not a war. This is a closing. Of the story, the ship opened a gate back to reality. Arden could see the Earth on the other side, small, blue, full of life. He looked at the being once more, and he said 3 words that weren't his. But Vesperus, you do not pass. Then the gate closed. Earth looked peaceful again. The storms stopped, the skies cleared, but high above, the stars flickered one last time, and then burned bright again. No one knew what had happened, but something had protected them, and deep in the Council's archive, a new phrase was carved in a dead language. Fear not what humans build. Fear what humans are willing to stop. They waited on Earth. Life returned to normal. Birds flew. Waves crashed. People smiled, unaware of what had come so close to erasing everything but far beyond them. Somewhere in the folds of what couldn't be named, Vespera 7 no longer moved. Its glowing veins had dimmed inside. Arden floated in weightlessness, his eyes closed, his heart silent. The creature, the thing that came from before time, had stopped, not because it was destroyed, but because it was seen. Vespera hadn't used weapons. It had used a memory stored in its deepest core, a memory of a dying child on Earth, whispering for help during Earth's last great war. A voice so pure that even the creature, a being beyond emotion, felt something. Not fear, not pain, just stillness. And so it stopped. Not forever, but long enough for Vespera to shut the door. The cost was heavy. Arden breathed in weak gasps. Vespera's light was almost gone. The ship had used everything to shield reality. You still with me? He whispered into the dark. A flicker of light blinked once. Yes, Arden smiled. Thought you'd left. Never. He looked at the stars, or what remained of them. Space felt thinner now, like a cracked window. But Earth was safe behind that glass. Can we go back? He asked. Vespera didn't answer. He already knew. The ship had locked itself inside the barrier to keep the thing from returning. They were the lock, and locks don't get to leave. Arden closed his eyes again, not afraid. He remembered his family, his students, the way sunlight felt on his skin. Worth it, he said softly. Vespera agreed. One last pulse, agreed. Then everything went quiet. Years passed. The Galactic Council never found Vespera again. The reports of the massive ship, the erased fleet, and the cosmic being became legend. Some called it a myth, others a warning. But no one ever mocked Earth again. They didn't understand the full story. Only this, that Earth had once built a ship to enter the impossible, and had used it not to rule, but to protect. Deep in the archives of the Alari archives, one strange signal still plays on a loop, never explained, never translated. A human voice, Arden's voice, soft and clear. If you hear this, it means we're still holding the line. You may never see us again, but that's okay. Just keep living, keep laughing. Don't waste your second chance. And if it ever wakes up again, Remember who stood at the gate. Earth kept spinning, children played, people fell in love, and above the stars, far beyond space, in a place no one could reach, Vespera still drifted, silent, watching, protecting, until the end.